Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon for anybody tuning in into another video with us today. And this one is a little different. This one is on Spider-Man's love interest. Now, I'm going to stick with those who are commonly shown up in the Spider mythos. I'm not going to do like holy comic book lore in this one. Like, for example, Spider-Woman. Not even going to get into that one. But I will talk about them at the end of the video as honorable mentions. But strictly, we're looking at the big four. Mary Jane Watson, Gwen Stacy, Felicia Hardy, and Silk, which is Sydney Moon. Them four alone we're going to talk about. Because, in my frank opinion, I believe Gwen Stacy is Spider-Man's best love interest by far. Now, I know a lot of people are going to fight me because there are some diehard comic book fans who want to stick to the script and be like, oh, Mary Jane is the number one love interest. Yes, I won't argue with that. Yes, she is. But for me, Gwen Stacy will forever be the best, in my opinion. I love the dialogue between the two when they go back and forth for me, though.
My let's say it's a factor. Stanley created Gwen Stacy based off his wife. And not just that, she's actually the first love interest before Mary Jane came around, so you know the whole deal.
When I say first, Peter had the heart for Mary Jane because, you know, Mary Jane was the high school queen in this definition, or the most popular girl in school. Everybody wanted Mary Jane.
But still, he went after Gwen Stacy before.
The Spectacular Spider-Man TV show kind of went more to that direction.
Yeah, and proved it in the comic books.
True. In my frank opinion, yeah, he should have got with Gwen Stacy, but every time he does, something bad happens. And then with Mary Jane, I know he has a kid with her, two of them by far, Benjamin and Mayday Parker. I ain't arguing against the book. It's just for me as a Spider-Man fan, for seeing him so long with all these different women, in my frank opinion, he belongs with Gwen Stacy. And I really wish they would give me a Spider-Man story other than Miles that actually gets with Gwen Stacy. Now, am I mad about Miles being with Gwen Stacy? Not at all. Because it makes sense with the universe hopping thing. I actually like that. I admit, spoilers ahead for the Across the Spider-Verse if you still haven't seen it. How Gwen does Miles in this movie, I don't like her. I'm gonna say I don't like her. I don't like how she treats Miles. And secondly, even though this is a split decision right here, Hobie hit it. I'm sorry. She's been away from Miles long enough to be with somebody else. Hobie hit it. I don't care what anybody tells me. Hobie hit it.
At least an adult age of 18 and up.
So is Gwen.
And secondly, I don't think they actually hit it. I think she just basically just either stay in that Spider-Verse dimension or just hop between dimension, you know, couch hopping type of deal.
Hopping to somebody's dimension is equivalent to hopping in somebody's house.
But still,
he hit it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Doesn't mean they slept together.
I think they slept together. I'm sorry. They slept together.
No, they haven't.
It's so deep. There's so much groundwork between the two of them. I think they slept together.
Okay, so a man and a woman basically work together and have some kind of chemistry. You would assume they slept together.
The way those two operate, yes. And plus, he's way too close to Gwen compared to how Miles is when they meet up in the Spider headquarters. They hit. He
probably wouldn't do that.
I think he's a whole rebel. I wouldn't put it past him.
But he knows he's not gonna hit that. No.
He don't. No. He know. Look, if you pay attention to him, he know.
He won't.
Shoot, I think he already did. I don't care. That's what I believe. I think he did.
I say he won't.
He did.
No, he won't.
He did.
No, he won't.
But look, like I said, we said for Felicia Hardy, I love Black Cat. I'm not gonna lie, that is Queen Thickums in the Spider-Man mythos for me. But the only thing that kills me is because of the age gap. Now that's by comic book standards. If you look at Spider-Man now, they're darn near the same age. which makes it a little easier on his character because the dynamic between the two of them is perfect. Don't get me wrong, it's a copy and paste of Batman and Catwoman, but it works so well though with Spider-Man and Black Cat. But the problem I still have with her, which actually seems kind of fair because it's her character, she focused too much on the thrill. Something I keep seeing a lot of common with these type of comic book characters that are like giving the anti-vibes. They always enjoy the thrill. They don't think about long-term stuff. They don't even think about long-term events for themselves. They just only focus in the moment. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a human character trait. Like, there are some people who really don't foresee their future, what they decide. There are just some who like to live in the moment. And I'm kind of one of them people, but I still foresee my actions depending on who I'm with and who I'm around. But their dynamic is it's unique, in my frank opinion. And even in this game, this PS4 Spider-Man, it's very well played. Like I said, in the books, they already have this problem where Peter is just younger. And then on top of that, she's seen his face, like midway through their relationship. When she's seen his face, she was like, hold up, put the mask back on. As if this man had the ugliest face on the planet. She just couldn't imagine him being so young because he's so strong and he gives off the vibe that he's a little older than what he's supposed to be. So that's me. I'd say if I had to give it a rank, I think Black Cat would be number 2 on the list for, love interest for me.
I got a different problem with her. She likes the thrill, like you said. It's gotten to the point she is very, very selfish and manipulative. And not gonna lie, she's a lot more tolerable than Mary Jane in my opinion. Because why does keep on fucking with them around and right now?
Man.
Anywho, but with Felicia, character is very consistent. That's what I really like.
That's why I say don't get me started on Mary Jane today. Because look, it is a cold day in hell for Spider-Man fans today, knowing what Mary Jane has done in the comic books right now. She cheated on Peter after he tried to save her because she said specifically he left her in the dimension for too long and she just gave birth to 2 of these kids. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I ain't got nothing against kids, no matter if they're mine or not, but fuck them kids. I'm sorry. Them kids disappeared midway through the book. If you don't know what we're talking about, read the Amazing Spider-Man books of today. And if you don't like it midway through, I will not blame you if you wanted to return the comic book and get your money back, man.
Hell, if you can return your money back, burn it.
I want to say, well, you can do that. But for me, Spider-Man comic books are not good right now. And especially who his love interest is still in the book. And it's Mary Jane. She messed up. And on top of that, the guy who she got with and had these kids with, he's the son of the villain who's been trying to kill Spider-Man for almost a year or so. And I forgot the name of the villain. I just know he's his son. But he's the son of a professor. And I forgot the name of the professor's name. But right now, Mary Jane is just the worst love interest, in my opinion. Like, she's at the bottom of the barrel. Now, with Sydney, the only problem, I don't really have much of a problem with Sydney, honestly. It's just every time they get even 2 feet in front of each other, it's the sexual attraction because of the radioactive spider bite. And it makes sense. She's only the only female out of all the females on the planet that physically has the compatibility with Peter Parker. They are bit by the same radioactive spider. They are literally the opposite of each other, and it makes a lot of sense. It's just like, say, for example, if a male cheetah ran into a female cheetah, and it was just bound to happen.
I'll give you the better example. Peacocks.
I don't say a peacock. It was perfect. A peacock is a perfect example. And plus, their feathers shine differently, and they even appear differently, and you can tell the genders perfectly, which is so good for these two. It's just she seems younger than Peter sometimes.
I'll blame the comic books writers on this one. Gwen Stacy is one thing, Felicia is another thing. But when it comes to Silk and Mary Jane, I'm the both of pick with them when it comes to writing these women. But sometimes with Silk, I didn't know even know much about her. But what I think I can tell is the fact that Jean and Peter once Spider-Man actually appeared. Even though they're bit by the same with the actors, spiders, some certain things like that, it's just, I don't know. It's very into characterization. Besides, she literally been bit by the same spider, sexual attraction, being a bio.
Wait, did you say she only shows up when like?
I just saying like she barely added any characterization, or at least wasn't advertised as much that way more people will know.
Well, Nay, I hate this. Well, I don't really hate to say this, but I have to disagree with you only because, for one, she has her own series, 3 of them right now. Second, she's in 2 big Spider-Man stories, and she's been a key player in one of them. The Spider-Verse, she was part of the ritual, but they managed to, save her. And second, in Spider-Geddon, I ain't gonna lie, she was kind of thrown a little bit to the side, but she was still a major player in the entire story. And then even now, I think she was in Across the Spider-Verse. She was still in the background though. But we have to look because, I just discovered today that Ultimate Spider-Man, Drake Bell's version, was in the movie. And I found him out of a random TikTok video.
Okay, now, with Mary Jane, I'm sorry. Mary, I love you. Thank you for making that first trilogy of Spider-Man.
Trinity, or you mean trilogy?
You know what I meant.
Okay, trilogy. You mean Kirsten Dunst. Yeah.
Yes. I love you, but your winner of her character is living a blueprint of an entire characterization of Mary Jane adaptation, either through freaking live adaptation or animation wise. Either way, you lay out the blueprint, and now she's one of the most hated characters.
You're gonna hate me for this, but Kirsten Dunst was my favorite version of Mary Jane.
I'm not mad at her for that.
No. Listen. Kirsten Dunst was my favorite version of Mary Jane until Spider-Man 3, because that's when I felt the comic accuracy was starting to kick in. Nay, I think it's gonna go all the way through, so we're gonna see how this play out. But I think the comic accuracy started to kick in during Spider-Man 3, and it killed me because she started acting more selfish and more self-absorbed in the movie because she got fired from her job. Everybody was criticizing her singing, and then she noticed that how Peter was getting more attention as Spider-Man, and she wasn't getting that much attention at all. Although he really did try to split his attention between her and the city, and he did. He even tried to marry her, like propose to her at a restaurant, and she was thinking it was like another Spider-Man stunt of him just trying to get attention. It was all on her. Cheated.
Not gonna lie, I've been thinking more about this. More people pointed out she cheated 3 times.
Wait.
First movie, she kissed Peter. But she didn't Harry Osborn.
I'm about to say she cheated on Harry.
Yes.
Then she cheated on J. Jonah Jameson's son, John, to leave him for Peter.
Actually, Peter to kiss her, and then she left. Him on the aisle on that money waste.
And then she cheated on Peter because she got so selfish
with Harry.
I know. Now, what kills me, I think out of all of them, like all the men that she was like messing around with, she did John so dirty. Because that whole relationship, she dragged on just to really hurt
Peter. And she didn't tell Peter she's getting married until like
middle. It was at an event for J. Jonah Jameson's son, and at the event he announced that he had just asked Mary Jane's hand in marriage, and everybody is there, including J. Jonah Jameson himself, and Peter is on the clock taking photos. And Harry just finished slapping the crap out of him because he knows that Peter does stuff for Spider-Man. And mind you, the Green Goblin in this universe was murdered, and they all blamed Spider-Man for that. But in that whole franchise, J. Jonah Jameson's son had got it done dirtier than any man she was with. And mind you, the first guy she was with was Flash Thompson, and he left her because he had asked her in marriage after they graduated high school, and she said, no, I don't want to do none of this stuff. He's like, you know what, whatever. And I don't know if he asked her hand in marriage or he tried to go on a date with her, because I don't know officially if they were dating or not.
But still, the point being, she cheated multiple times.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why.
She cheated multiple times. I really don't like it.
Look, see, that's right. That right there is why I told Isaiah. But anyway, that's why I told Isaiah, and he will fight me forever. This is my brother. Mary Jane is a hoe. For real. And then even now, her comic book counterpart proves it even further. Out of all the women that Spider-Man has been with, Mary Jane has been hopping from body to body to body in the movies, and then now in the books, she just hopped to another one.
I don't know, the only MJ that I actually truly like is Michelle Jones. Not gonna lie, she's a lot more original character that's been MJ that I actually likes. I'm not gonna lie.
She was an interesting take on Mary Jane. I actually liked hers better, and Stan Lee even did, because he liked the idea of most of his characters trying to stay with the times. Now, Michelle Jones, she was more of an actual detective than a reporter, which I liked. It's just, I still felt like there was a Superman and Lois Lane vibe going on because of that.
At least she didn't put herself in danger.
Yep, you're right. She actually got out of the damsel in distress vibe, which I hated for the longest for Mary Jane, because that's all she did. And then in the PS4 game, she would do the exact same thing and blame Peter for the outcome every single time. Now we jump to Gwen Stacy. We're going back and forth with all these characters just to give our points off. You pay attention to Gwen Stacy, she was God. Anywho, you go back to Gwen Stacy. She was loyal from Peter from the very first day, even before Flash Thompson bullying him a lot, because they were already friends.
Science nerd.
It made sense. You see them all the time do science stuff in the classroom. They were getting A+ after A+. They were making up ideas. They were making up all this serums and stuff. And then you pay attention to her character even further. I honestly really do feel Peter was so blinded by the redhead, he ignored the blonde head. Because I ain't gonna lie, Gwen Stacy was so much better. And then if you pay attention to her in The Amazing Spider-Man, with Andrew Garfield's take on Spider-Man, she was still loyal to him even before they started dating. She stopped Flash Thompson for beating him up in the middle of the courtyard. Then later on, she was willing to help him out or get him up off the ground. And then later, you're like, well, if you want me to help you with any of your stuff, let me know.
I know, I'm not gonna lie, she does have a habit of putting herself in danger a few times.
At least she never blamed Peter for what she did. She was more mature than Mary Jane, because she would take accountability for being in this situation. The biggest one I remember was at the end of the movie when she goes to Oscorp to make the serum. Peter did not want her to go, but she made it clear that he needs help in order to save the entire city and not just Kurt Connors. So he let his guard go, and his insecurity, I'll say that, because I admit it's kind of big. He let her do what she needed to do. She was a woman. She was not a child. And I say that even though I know she's below the age 18 at this point, but she acted so mature, and she stood by Peter even after her dad was murdered, because he did tell her that I made a promise to your pops and I can't be around you anymore because it'll bring danger to you. She still understood the risk, something Mary Jane couldn't even handle because she really wanted all the attention. Gwen did not. She just wanted to be with Peter, and I respected that. It made sense. And then even after she was murdered by the Green Goblin, well, we could argue. A lot of people nowadays will say, "Oh, Green Goblin killed her," or "Spider-Man's Whiplash killed her." I think the Whiplash did kill her. It was an accidental death. After that, even before that too, she was still loyal to Peter. Before and after, because she got resurrected. And then on top of that, I don't like that one particular story where they said Green Goblin raped Gwen Stacy, gave her twins, and then he tried to get them brainwashed to kill Peter. I thought that was enough turmoil all at once.
You know, as a matter of fact, I know it's gonna be out subject. I got a bone pick with Marvel about this because it's kind of like iteration. Spider-Man and T'Challa, give them an epic break. That's all I'm gonna say.
I agree. Like today, Spider-Man and T'Challa need a break. They really do. We'll come back to that later, but for now, back on topic.
Give the video.
But Gwen Stacy's been resurrected, and it went and like it just restarted the whole relationship thing, and then he went back with Mary Jane. Now in the Ultimate Universe, he has a sexual relationship with her too, but they were always going back and forth, and the same went for Mary Jane. But before he was killed, he was with Gwen Stacy, and she was in his house too. Bobby, which is Iceman, and Johnny was the Human Torch. All three of them were in the house with Aunt May. I even have the books to prove it, but he was with Gwen Stacy, and there were times she even cried over this man because he did not, well, he wasn't with her at the time. But before he died, he was with Gwen Stacy. The only time I've seen him even with Gwen Stacy, when it was like permanent, and he had a relationship with a lot of people in this series. He had Gwen Stacy, he had Mary Jane, he had Black Cat, he had his clone, and I forgot her name, but he was strictly with Gwen Stacy a lot more than he was with Mary Jane. I was so happy until he got killed. Of course, he got brought back to life as a Hydra agent, but if you want to go read the story, read up on the Ultimate Comics of Miles Morales from the 2009 run or the 2010 run. Anywho, for me, Gwen Stacy has proven time after time after time that she is willing to be with Peter, live with Peter, and die with Peter or die for Peter. Mary Jane has always been more of a self-absorbed character, love interest, and if the attention wasn't on her, she would blame Peter for everything that happened. And I'm not trying to say she always did it, but majority of the time where things got really tough or things got really rough, yes, she blamed Peter. Now I know there are stories where she did not always do it, hence their marriage. But still, you see it now, even in the PS4 game. She still blames Peter when she gets in situations she don't even think about getting out of until it happens. That's the crazy part about it. That doesn't make any sense. Even Black Cat don't even do that crap. She just plays around with Peter like a little ball. Now with Cindy, I feel is an underrated love interest, only because of their radioactive attraction, literally. Now I know it's more of a sexual attraction, but she still does have a connection with Peter other than that. They even sit down and try to talk about it, knowing it's kind of hard to resist every single time. Now I won't lie, in my mind, Peter is a pimp for having all this going on, but what? It's true. I think he a pimp, and he play it well for somebody who doesn't make that much money, but it's okay. Peter is the reason why I love... Look, Spider-Man is the reason why I feel like, at the end of the day, you could darn near be broke, you'll still get some. It don't matter. He's proven that time after time after time, even other universes where he does not have that much money, or even money level as Tony Stark, he still managed to get some of these women we did not expect him to. Shoot. So, if I had to rank the love interest for me, Gwen Stacy is number 1. Black Cat is number 2. Sydney Moon is number 3. And Mary Jane is at the very bottom of number 4. And this is the core love interest. We'll get to the other ones later as for small tidbits, but as in the 4 you see so often, or the ones that everybody else knows that he go with, them 4.
Okay, now what's later was mentioning the rest of the love interest.
You don't want to give him your ranking?
I already did.
What is yours then?
I already did.
So yours is mine, basically, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Why didn't you just clarify that?
Okay, now let's get to the love interests.
For, honorable mentions, in this case, or the side ones. Spider-Woman, for example, Now hers is a little hard because the reason why her pheromones attracts every man to her. I think that's what happened with Peter, just like everybody else. But I don't want to assume that because I haven't read the issue or the story where they actually got together.
If it is, it's basically Silk and him all over again.
Maybe. Now with Black Widow, which this is kind of funny because a lot of people don't know about this one. This was a what if story since their literal names is what makes this story possible. Both of them had got into a relationship. They got married. Now here's the funny part. Yes, she killed him basically. I think it was after the honeymoon or after he got her pregnant. I'm not sure. It just was a kind of a funny story given their names are based off their arachnids. So Black Widow, Spider-Man, it just made sense and it was just a funny story. It was kind of dark because of the decapitation part, or in this case, the killing. But other than that, it was just a good tidbit story. It was fun. Now he got, of all the people he could have got with, he got with Ms. Marvel. I don't even know how that was possible. It don't seem like she would fit up his alley, but evidently they did. They hit it off. I guess it kind of makes sense because she's serious, he's funny. It's just, opposites attract type thing. There are some of these people, I don't even know how superheroes and villains kind of nail. It don't make sense. Now, the final, I think this is the final one. The other one he got with was Kitty Pryde. It makes sense. Because even in the Ultimate Universe, they have a relation. Which is kind of weird, but that's what they chose to do.
Just do that because they're just doing it because like it's a typical what if, but it's not a what if story.
Well, it's not a what if story because it's in the Ultimate Universe.
That's what I basically just saying. It's basically like what if, but it's not in the what if stories.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all 7, like, off the bat, like, right off the bat that people know of. Any side ones, like, for example, a lot of people think She-Hulk and Spider-Man probably had a thing, or they could have had a thing. I actually could see that knowing one breaks the fourth wall constantly in her comic books, and the other one just tells jokes, and sometimes they're literally in the bubbles or in the thought bubbles.
I see some chemistry, but I don't think they will be together.
The chemistry looked like it would be so strong, but it'd be a very interesting relationship. But She-Hulk gets with all the strong characters by far, or at least the ones that show some form of authority, not trying to be wrong or anything or step any toes. But Spider-Man, he likes to loose cannons for some reason, a little bit. And I say that with like strong conviction because Black Cat has a thrill side to her. Mary Jane is more of the psychosexual, which is the symphosexual. If I'm saying that right, let me know. With the smarts, Mary Jane, I don't know. She's so strange to me when it comes to that.
Mary Jane constantly.
True. And Sydney Moon, it's right off the bat the physical and radioactive attraction. Kitty Pryde makes a little sense. Black Widow was funny, so it made some sense. And then Ms. Marvel sort of makes sense, only because she might need something flipped. But other than that, that's all I got. You got any love interest that you possibly know of that he got with her? No. Okay, so that's like how our list is. Gwen Stacy number 1, Black Cat is number 2, Sydney Moon is number 3, Mary Jane is number 4. Alright guys, that's it. We're going to end here. If you guys want us to do another video like this, let us know. We're probably already going to do it. But I'll catch you later. Alright.